The DeLucas pressed Tony's remain into 12 vinyl records, one for each member of the family. But little did they know, he would return. Ghostface. It starts as reborn as the Ghostface. Yo, Medusa steer, my guns bust in silence. I'm a black vigilante killer, pro-valence. It's the rebirth, born again. Rise through the vinyl spin, they took out stalks, but the light shines within. It's the almighty rise of the murderous ghost face. Bodies dropped in owls, left for cold case. Colombian neckties from a black Gambino. Bodies get dumped in the black El Camino. It's Reno, gangster wars, money, power, respect. Revenge is felt like the heat from a tech. Tommy guns are irrelevant, I'm bulletproof now. I can fly through the air. Yo, hey, welcome to Red River Podcast, episode 161. Today we're going to celebrate the 50 years of hip hop, which coincides with Langan's birthday. So, both of you, you guys were both born on the, you and hip hop, born in the same year.
I kept it so real. I came to my mother in a dream, and I was like, I don't want to be born until 73.
That's right.
That's how real I keep it.
And he's repping everyone's favorite hip hop group, Sam Hain. So very important.
The fall starts today. Yesterday, September 1st in my house. So
I don't know. All I know is when Monday and Tuesday roll around and it's 90 degrees, it ain't gonna feel,
Stay inside, close the windows.
Wow, that
works every time.
Josh will be at the beach, fucking soaking up the rays.
I hope so.
Yeah, celebrating Jimmy Buffett. But
R.I.P.
Poor little out.
Poor little cheeseburger out on
Poor little margarita on the ground today, people.
Yeah.
Don't salt your margaritas today. Drink them dry out of respect.
They're gonna have to go a little harder today for sure. What was I gonna say? I completely totally forgot. Yeah, Jimmy Buffett just took me out of my game. But so before we get into it, Josh put out a new project, and let's talk a little bit about that before we get into this list. So
right on.
Tell me and everyone, the name and what it's like to basically, be able to sit in a car or be able to send it to your friends, and the name of the record is music. What is it?
Music for My Friends.
Yeah, Music for My Friends. Exactly, which is basically what most of us do these days.
That's it. Yeah, I have to say, just like Sam played a minor role only because when I put out my my podcast, like my book or however you want to categorize it, it was kind of the same thing where I had like one person kind of like for years going like, hey man, when are you going to finish that book? And then at some point I was just like, I should like finish it and just shut this guy up. And like Sam was kind of like that for music. He was just kind of like, yeah, man, when you coming out of retirement, you drop that 16. I was like,
yeah.
So I honest to God, I did not record music for like 16 years and never thought I was going to do it again. And then it all kind of just fell into my lap. And I'm big on like things kind of showing themselves to me rather than me pursuing them. Because when I pursue things, they're like annoying. It's like square peg, round hole. And this just was kind of like, I heard my friend record a song and then I was like, that sounds pretty good, man. I can't believe he's still that good after all this time. And then I jokingly texted him and was like, send me the beat, I'll be on the remix. And then he did it in like 30 seconds. And I was like, maybe I should try to write a rap now. And then I did it. And I was like, I think that might be pretty good. And then I did it for him and he was like, that's really good. And I was like, shit. We're recording.
Got the itch.
Like, oh, shit. Yeah. So I went to the studio and it was like magic again. And I was like, wow, this feels pretty good. And then the guy goes, I'm going to send you some beats. And I was like, I don't know if I'll do anything with them. And then next thing I know, I'm recording a 7-song project, and that's what's out now. And so that I put out at the end of May, and I'm writing already. I'm 8 songs into another one, so I'm going to do 10
double
songs.
Double album.
No, it's going to be 10 songs. I think 7 is too short, even though I thought it was like kind of what.
Really?
I thought it was too short in terms of like, for me, I don't know.
These days it's,
But then again, like, we're probably writing like 3.5 minute 4 songs, like as a
Right.
band. So it's a little different,
Mine's
like
shorter.
where I'll do like five at a clip and stuff. But
Right.
I think maybe, like, do you think because you just wanted such a result back in your early days that it was so off-putting? That you like, it's almost like your friend just did it for fun, and you're like, oh, maybe, like, wait, we could just do this because this is what we do.
Right. And but I've heard you talk about that too, because like I've heard you talk about the idea of like, if you can do it, like why would you ever stop? And that makes 100% sense, unless the last time you did it, you had like such a goal. I had such a goal. It was like to do this, and then I'm gonna do this, and then my life will be like this. And then it just ruined the art part of it. So I was so disgusted with making music that I
Yeah.
was like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
Fuck this. Like, I
That's
don't want to have any part of this shit.
that's the beauty of growing up, like where like Joe or like Langan did, like where we're such fans of like bands that make no money and play. Like we're
Right.
like, we don't have that, like, that view. And if you would have listened to more in underground hip hop artists, like maybe maybe
If
you would
I'd have
have
listened to more underground hip hop artists, I would have been one,
yeah.
and I would have been touring for a living. Now, whether or not that would have been a good thing is
Yeah.
another conversation. I mean, I have no regrets, but for sure, like that was just where my mind was all fucked up. But what you said earlier about like how does it feel? It was a total bug out, because back in the days, you put out music, and then you couldn't just ask your friend like, "Hey, have you heard it?" Because how would they hear it
Yeah, yeah,
unless you physically handed them the
yeah,
CD? You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
So it was totally insane where people were like texting me, and I was like, "Oh, you've heard it?" And then I was like,
yeah.
"Oh, wait, everybody can hear it.
Yeah,
They
that's
want to hear that."
the pros and cons to everything. When you want to talk about the business side of it,
Yeah,
but goddamn, if you could text someone your discography in 2 seconds and they could listen to it, it's like,
it
it's
was
pretty cool.
super fun. I mean, like I know exactly where I was. Like, 11:57 the night before it dropped at 12. You know what I mean? Like that. It was awesome. It was like a whole brand new thing. And then, I was like, all right, cool. Now it's out, and then that's it. And then, again, like I said, I'm working on another one that I'm hoping to put out by the end of the year. But then, like, I don't know if that's it or I'm done again. I mean, I have no idea.
It doesn't even matter. Once again, it's just like whenever you get that itch, like it's just you go on, and like whenever you hear, like, there's no reason for someone to send you a beat and you be like, oh, okay, but I'm done. It's like, if someone sends you a beat, then it's like, oh, let's just record the song. Why, you could release a single? Like, who cares? Like, if something
Right.
hits you that hard, So yeah, man, looking forward to it. Hopefully your kids finally think you're cool, you know.
I'm cool.
All right, good. Making sure. If my dad put out music now, I'd just be like, nah, I'm just not fucking with this. My dad would definitely play terrible music, though. Shout out to him. He never had good taste in music. Joe, before we start, I know you played a fun show over at Knockdown Center, which is like, is like a zillion capacity. You played with the new kings of Long Island, Pain of Truth. Shout out to Michael Smith and the whole Smith Brothers clan. Regulate, Outburst, Sick of It All, and Life of Agony. So how was that?
Yeah, that was a great show. My first time ever being at the Knockdown Center for anything. That's a part of Queens. I grew up in Queens, born and raised, but that part of Maspeth, kind of Ridgewoody area, it's sort of like the armpit that I never really went near my whole my whole life there. So they put a venue up there that seats like, or it doesn't seat, it fills 3,000 people, a pretty big place. And first time seeing Life of Agony like in person. Old friends was Sick of It All. That was nice. And then those two bands you mentioned, Regulate and Pain of Truth, they are serious problems, man. So if you guys are listening, or if you happen to know those dudes, especially Pain of Truth, they went right on before Sick of It All. They both bring it, Regulate and Pain of Truth. So it's nice to see the new generation, like, getting ready to keep it moving, while bands like Sick of It All and Life of Agony are celebrating 30 years, and we're in the veteran group of that. But that was a lot of fun. It
Very
was a
cool.
good time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's fun to see Pain of Truth get their Freddie Madball feature. Those kids are really doing it. I mean, I say kids, but obviously, they're around the 28, 29, 30
Yeah.
range.
Yeah.
But man, they're killing it right now. And those that they come from a good family, Mike and his brother. So like those guys a lot. Um,
Yeah.
cool. So today's episode originated basically because Howie Abrams, shout out to him, posted a list to celebrate 50 years of hip hop. I filled it out. I filled it out just kind of like no thinking, because it's like that's how you got to fill out these things, because it's
Mhm.
impossible. It's impossible to like fill out any of these things. So I thought it'd be fun to kind of just go through everyone's list, starting with the first question, and we could all read shit online, but with podcast or conversations, you could give a little context to your picks instead of just a one word thing. So
Mhm.
Josh, the
Yes,
first
sir.
thing at the very top is greatest rapper of all time. So who do you have?
Crime Apple.
He's listening, so watch out.
No,
You'll be on his mailing list soon.
I know. No disrespect to Crime Apple. I love you, bro. I have Jay-Z, man. I know it's like the most like pop answer of all time, but he's my favorite, man. He's the greatest.
What's the best album?
For me, it's Reasonable Doubt, but there are some sleepers. Blueprint is fantastic. I really like American Gangster, which is not usually listed in people's top Jay-Z albums, but if you really listen to it, that album is amazing.
I love the production on that.
It's crazy, man. It's like basically, I feel like it almost gave him a chance to justify going back to like the Reasonable Doubt Jay-Z. So like
Yeah.
he gets to talk about like being a gangster
Yeah.
when he's worth $1 billion. So that's like the farthest thing from the truth. So like he was like, no, I'm doing it as Frank Lucas from American Gangster. We were like, sure, man.
Yeah.
But either way, it was awesome. I love that album.
Very cool. And if you could basically pick one song from his category, I mean from his catalog, for someone that's maybe never listened to Jay-Z, like what's one song that you'd be like, this is like a song that encompasses him?
Wow. I'm gonna have to go with something off of Reasonable Doubt. I'm trying to think off my head.
I'll go with Devils.
The Evils.
Wow, I say Devils.
It does look like Devils, but it's D' Evils.
Depostrophe.
Yeah, the Evils is pretty great. Honestly, I can't even pick one song off a Reasonable Doubt. I would say you could skip Ain't No N-Word, but otherwise everything else on there, right?
Yeah.
Everything else on there is like really where he crossed over. Like he had kind of the right amount of insight on that world to a point where it was like a more vividly painted movie than just kind of like the regular old repetitive drug rap, and then you can kind of see where his life went after that, or just kind of how his brain changed, and I thought it was pretty awesome.
Cool. Langan, who do you have as greatest rapper of all time?
I went with Rakim, which you see on a lot of these lists, just because, like when I think about him, and I probably said this before, but like guitar, right? The guitar always existed. Les Paul did things with the guitar, whatever, and then Jimi Hendrix came along, and like you can do a whole different way. You know what I mean? And for Rakim, whenever my name is, but you know what I mean? That old fucking lingo that they used to use.
I feel like you're throwing darts at the Beastie Boys right now. I don't know. You want to confirm?
No, well, that shit is it has its place and stuff, but then somebody comes along and puts these double entendres and wordplay that nobody was fucking doing it, and it just changed the game forever.
Yeah,
I think it's hard to he's just impossible to fuck with.
So yeah, for sure. He's definitely like an Eddie Van Halen, like where you're like, oh my god, you're like, all right, I guess you could do that, and then from there, people really ran with that for sure.
Yeah, and just I mean, I can't imagine if I was, I didn't get it till hip hop later in life and stuff, so I didn't know a lot of fucking shit as it was happening. you know. But I can't imagine with you if you were ahead back then and you were listening to things the way they were, and then this cat comes out, and it just must have been fucking mind blowing, you know.
Yeah. Cool. So Joe, greatest rapper of all time.
So I'm going to follow off of Langen's pick because there's a reason why everyone says Rakim, you know, a certain age group. I'm going Rakim because of his impact. And just like he was saying, there was the whole like, yes, yes, all. And then he comes in, Rakim, with his wordplay and just like, what the hell is this dude doing?
Yeah.
You know, the impact of like, you know, and I don't really remember the first single that really officially dropped, but like around the time when before Paid in Full was like in stores, you heard like Eric B. as president, and kids in my high school were just like, you know, make him clap to this, and you know, thought I was a donut. You tried to the quotables on that guy. You thought I was a donut. You tried to glaze me. Like,
Yeah.
who's saying stuff like that? You know,
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
clever. You know, so yeah, I have to go with Rakim. I know it's trendy, but it's trendy for a reason. It's not like, you know, there's no merit behind it. The guy is like literally, and if you think about his longevity, it's been uneven, you know, but his
Mm.
reputation, you know, he gets used for guest spots. You know, Dre supposedly did an album with him, and you know, he did a thing with Truth Hurts, like, you know, into the 20 years after he started. And people who are much younger still acknowledge him as one of the all-time greats, you know. So especially with this 50th birthday celebration, you know, he's getting his flowers,
Yeah.
deservedly so.
And
you know?
I just saw him on the Biz Markie Mass Appeal documentary on Showtime, because he was sitting in the Wyandanch classroom, which is like a town over from where I live, and I was like, oh yeah, I totally forgot that like he's from a town over. So shout out to him.
Yeah.
So the next question makes sense, you know, because the greatest, or what we consider greatest, is one thing, but your favorite doesn't necessarily mean he has to be, or she has to be, the greatest. So Josh, favorite rapper?
Well, Sam, what was your greatest?
Oh,
Did you
me.
say?
I was getting too into hosting. I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was on my Bob Barker shit, man. Yo, shout out to him right now.
Yeah.
So for me,
RIP.
it's Biggie. You know, it's hard to really. This one was hard because I'm thinking like greatest. You know, you have wordsmiths that, you know, I could have gone with Rakim, but like I'm a little bit younger and like he meant a lot. But you know, when you hear Biggie and like the shit he says and the stuff he wrote for other people, it's as good as you could be, as coherent as you could be, because he could be Aesop Rock or like any of these like other like underground like rappities, as Josh would say. And that's cool, but like there's something about being so like intelligible to like the masses that really you're like, oh, you appeal to like, you know, like the shooters, the fucking teens, the everyone in between. And then the stories, you know, like you hear just the verse on Victory is just like, I don't rap, but like I could get, you know, in the commission you ask for permission to hit them, like, yeah, like that shit, like, kidding me? I kick a few flows so I could pick a few hoes, and you know, rhyme a few bars so I could buy a few cars. Like,
Yeah.
very good, but nothing like that's like so complex, you know? So I think when it comes to greats, I had to go with him, and it's weird because he doesn't have that big of a body of work. Technically 3 albums and a bunch of, you know, random tracks and stuff, but I got to go with Biggie, especially from like, I guess, my generation. So Josh, what would be your favorite rapper?
It's still Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, for me, it's like I was just sitting here thinking about how, you know, greatest is like debatable, whereas favorite is not debatable.
Yeah,
And I
for
kind
sure.
of wasn't really thinking about that. I'm not mad at the Biggie thing too. But you know, again, for me, it's different because I started writing raps and I was like, I guess technically 8, but really 12. So like that was, you know, 1989. So basically starting in 1989, I started thinking about the way rap verses are constructed and what, you know, like words are chosen and cadences and things like that, and literally have never stopped. So for me, listening to rappers and judging them based on good or not is more of a technical thing, which is a gift and a curse, obviously, because it would be great if I could just like listen, like a normal person, but I can't. So like for me, it just takes another level of something that is not necessarily important to someone who doesn't listen to it like me. And again, I'm not saying the way that I listen to it is the right way. I'm just saying it's the way that I listen to it. So that's why, somebody might love an artist and I go like, yeah, but like perfect example, like yesterday, total sidebar, and I won't go down a rabbit hole, but yesterday, I saw that there was a new Rock Marciano album, right? I don't really know much about Rock Marciano other than everybody says that he's kind of the father of that sound,
Yeah.
which is like, Griselda and
Yeah.
Bronson and like all those people, which as of late, I've been not listening to like regularly, but checking out more than I once did, because before I used to just write that off and say like, all right, these aren't good songs. But now I go like, well, these people care about lyrics, so let me listen to this. And I have to say, like, I can't say anything bad about Rock Marciano's pen. He can really, really rap. And Boldy James, he can really, really rap.
Lost you. Where are you?
Am I here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Their songs, they just don't really make songs. You know what I'm saying? It's basically like,
I can't get into Boldy.
it's like spoken word. It's like gangster spoken word.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, cool. I can't say that there's not ears for that, but I just think totality wise, I need both.
Yeah.
And that's why Jay-Z is my guy, because he's both.
Which is what kind of what I said was
lyrics,
songs. It's what I said about Biggie, like where you have
for sure
both of that stuff. And I remember I jokingly compared it. I would always compare Aesop Rock from like the Def Jux days as like the hip hop Dillinger Escape Plan. Like if you tell me you don't like him, I get it, because it's so chaotic that you're like, this is barely rap. I don't know what's going on here. So yeah, there is that thing where you hear, once you take away like those like beatless drum beats where you just like it's like a flute or some shit. I get that
I tried with that shit, but it's just not my thing,
But I like it's like basically saying you like Sonic Youth or certain things where you're like, okay, the guitar is so dirty and ugly and these songs are so dissonant that it only appeals to a certain ear. But if you're like, oh, I don't like Sonic Youth, I'm like, yeah, I get it. So that's basically.
I do like though a subgenres existing and like pushing things in different directions. Just it might not be my cup of tea, but I like that people are pushing the boundaries.
Yesterday I watched this clip on Instagram. I got to send it to everyone, and it's like I try not to be. I don't want to be the old guy. But like it said, listening to rap music in the 90s versus today, and it's like black dude's like driving in his car and he's just like no, but he's like driving and he's like rocking out to like I forget what it was. It was like something, it felt like a New Jack Swing beat, and everyone's like kind of digging it. And then the next track is like Today, and it's like just literally like everything that sounds like the 808s with the fucking like the hi-hat hits, and you're just like, what? I'm like, you're singing, what is going on here? It's just it's like everyone sounds the same, and it's bizarre. But I don't know, is it because we're so far removed from that? I don't know.
I think it's because recording techniques have become, it's so easy to mimic what's popular, and like things are just done a certain way electronically now in people's bedrooms, that it's just when a sound gets hot, it's just easy to mimic, keep replacing or whatever, or auto tune the vocal. It's just there's a lot, and that makes everything kind of like a little more generic, I think.
Next year we're gonna do top 5 AI songs, guarantee. So all right, Langan, what's your favorite rapper?
I gotta say too, I had a Big L as a runner-up for greatest rapper of all time, and also with short body of work, he might be my runner-up for this favorite rapper of all time, but my favorite rapper of all time is Inspector Deck from
Wow.
the Wu-Tang
Yeah.
Clan.
Yeah.
The second I heard him, he stood out to me. I love everybody's solo work back in the day. Ghostface, Raekwon putting out these genius records, but still, Deck was always my favorite because he could just step in a song, give you 16, and it would steal the fucking show like every time. He was just so consistent, and I loved all his features. I even liked the Uncontrolled Substance when it finally came out and
They
shit. And I
got some
loved.
bangers.
I'm sorry.
No,
Yeah, and Czarface, man, I is one of my favorite rap groups right now. So
yeah.
I just love it. He never disappoints me. He's never disappointed me anytime he's on the mic.
I love that he got that second like wind with
Word.
Czarface. Well deserved.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't getting it in Wu.
Nah.
Sure. So,
Nah.
Joe, favorite rapper.
Okay, well, this is kind of a cop out because for those folks who are, more my age range, they know that
Heavy D.
I just got into a whole thing with.
I saw. That's why I mentioned it.
Yeah, Heavy D. I mean, don't. He may not make everyone's like.
Joe's fighting on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm standing for Heavy D, along with a producer, a friend of mine who was like, got into a beef with somebody who called Heavy D basically the East Coast Hammer, and I'm like,
no way.
Yeah,
I had to join in on that. I was like, no way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, and just to summarize, like my contribution was like, you take the Janet Jackson All Right remix with his verse on it,
killed it.
MC Hammer would never,
killed it.
Even if he got a ghostwriter, he couldn't do stuff like that.
Yeah, he killed it.
But yeah, I just felt like he was getting shortchanged, like as an MC, But no, heavy, he's in my top 10 for like all time contributions. But favorite rapper of all time, it's like a cop out for picking Rakim as the greatest, because in 1988, like if you were on the streets in real time, Kane and Big Daddy Kane and Rakim were like, the Kobe and not Kobe and Jordan, what's a good comparison? Magic and Bird.
John Stockton.
It's just like which one do you want? I'll take the other one if you don't want, because you couldn't beat those guys like, debuts, what they were at their height of, like, when they're just coming up. So I say Big Daddy Kane, and Rakim, they're kind of interchangeable. Almost like a cop out to like what Josh was saying, like, favorite versus greatest. Kane could do a lot of things. He could go smooth with like Smooth Operator and Very Special. He can get rough with like, The Wrath of Kane and Raw and like Enough Respect from Juice. He could do posse cuts, he did R&B featurettes with like Patti LaBelle, feels like another one. Real diversified. And then on top of that, he could dance like as good as as Scoop and Scrap. He was the total package. Like he was really, really entertaining, And I know he said in interviews that he really focused on being just more than an MC,
And it was great.
So
it was great to just hear, Josh's story attached to Kane. That was one of the things. It was just like fascinating.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, for your folks who don't, who haven't delved into Why You'll Never Be a Rapper, which is
on Spotify,
Josh's audio
Apple
book.
Music, yeah.
He's got a little kinship with BDK.
Yeah, we did a song together. So by your standards, I have a song with your favorite rapper of all time, which
6 Degrees. Yeah, it's about 6
Go
Degrees right
me.
there.
Yeah,
there you go. I mean, so greatest is Rakim. Favorite is Big Daddy Kane. There's really not much leeway between the two of them. They're both all-time greats to me.
Yeah.
As you'll, a lot of people, and Kane is getting his flowers the last couple of years too, which I really appreciate.
Yeah.
Did you see what happened to him in England?
I did. I saw that. This guy, this England rapper, and Kane was like, that ain't my problem.
He took his jacket off. He was ready to fight. But I actually texted Kane's DJ is like a good friend of mine. And I texted him to ask if it was real, because for a second I thought it was staged, and it was totally real, which is kind of scary. Like there was no security. Like this dude just got up on stage with a ski mask on and was like,
Davey, our friend from the show, Davey Bright, knows the MC. Like I guess he was like a famous like UK MC. He brought him up. He's like, obviously said it's a bad look for him for even doing that. But Kane's security did the right thing. They're like, we'll handle it. You fucking stay the fuck away. Because once he took the jacket off, He's
Yeah,
like,
he was ready to go. I was
yeah,
impressed.
he's like, that ain't my fucking problem, man. He's like, that ain't my fucking problem. I don't know what he was telling him. So, cool. So for me, favorite rapper with a voice, like, man, a Guru. So those Gangstar records, once again, nothing really too complex, but when I hear all like the Gangstar discography, it's just a voice that I just got so used to. And he was just at the head of like all, like so many of my favorite songs, and a moment in time, just like the Smashing Pumpkins that I bring up, like it was just all my favorite shit was like Guru, like from that to like the Jazzmatazz records, which I thought were really cool. So that would be my favorite right there. All right, moving right along. Favorite current rapper. So this will be good. Josh, you can't say yourself.
Can I say Josh?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
could.
Oh,
Yeah.
thanks, man.
The three
That's
of
amazing.
That's it.
the other three of us will.
I don't know if I'm active. I'm active adjacent. I actually call I couldn't think about what to call my like my label, like it's at the bottom of every
yeah.
release.
Yeah.
So I just put it out and it just said like what's his name for a long time. And I have a line where I said went from retired adjacent. So I called it retired adjacent. That's the name of
Yes.
my music company.
I like that line. Yeah.
No, thank you. Yeah, I would say my favorite current rapper is Kendrick Lamar. Just all in. Because again, for me, it's like a total package thing. And he's just the right, you know, he's the right amount of like great lyrics and like thoughtful lyrics and crafty lyrics and funny lyrics, and also can make songs on a level that if I kept going for 50 years, I don't think that I could do that, to be honest. And that to me is the most impressive because, again, like, not that I'm like the greatest of all time, even though I say it in all of my songs. Um, in real life, that was always the thing for me. It's like, I want to listen to something and go, I don't think I could have done that. That's for me, that's the thing.
Yeah.
And even when I wasn't active, I would still listen to people and go, I haven't written a rap in 15 years. And there's no doubt in my mind that I could do that right now.
Yeah.
And that to me is like 46-year-old man who lives in the suburbs. Like, I should not be a better rapper than anyone. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even, my head is not even in the right space to be better than anyone. So if I hear someone and instantly I go, nope, I'm better than that, then to me, they're just not that good. So, and that could just be the, maybe the lyrics are better than what I could come up with or more relevant or whatever, but they can't make songs. And I'm just like, why does everyone like this? So anyway, the point is Kendrick, I think, is exceptional.
Exceptional. Yeah. I mean, as a musician, I mean, I never feel like, oh, I can't do that, but like I get the competition. Like whenever ever someone local that kind of sounds like us in some way, they put out something really good, I'm like, I got to get back in there ASAP. I just pick up the guitar. I just feel it. I'm like, oh, I got, and it's just,
and that's good though. Anything that helps you to like, produce art.
Yeah, because it's like, oh my God, that's so good. Like I gotta like, I love that. And right now Long Island's killing it with all the young kids. So
you're good. You're like currently good when and this is like a little while back, but when Taylor Swift tabs you to do a guest verse, on Bad Blood, and to expose you to like her little, fan base,
little. You know what though? Counter that though with she has a song with Ice Spice, so maybe not.
I only know her by name, so I don't really know Ice Spice, but I think she's pretty big,
Horrifying.
I guess. So unfortunately,
I've never heard her either.
Kendrick will never get that Jimmy Buffett feature. So once again, we'll move on. Langan, favorite current rapper.
This was tough. I didn't have like a standout answer to this, so just thinking about some younger guys that I kind of fuck with, and also current. There's still like older guys making tunes, but I'm like, I guess they mean of like another generation. So I had Huss Kingpin, Graph, and Rome Streets pretty much came to mind right away.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of the acts that are coming up, it's really the productions was pulling me in before the lyrics. Whereas maybe I listened to it a different way younger. But I love what Huss Kingpin's doing with like pulling Portishead tracks to reimagine those, or Tricky and hip hop adjacent bands and stuff that Bjork, like things that they could take and twist and package and he's got like covers albums and stuff, where they're taking just straight old beats and stuff. I just like what he's doing with that shit.
Yeah, that stuff's great. It appeals to the people that ride both sides of the fence, where it's like we like Bjork and we like hip hop, and they mix it together. So yeah, he's doing a lot of cool stuff.
And Long Island represent. So
yep. Joe, current favorite rapper.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's interchangeable. Like if I chose one over the other, but Kendrick was gonna be one of my finalists for the the items that Josh mentioned. My standout track to me was when he dropped All Right, well, we're gonna be all right. Like, who's flowing like that, at that point in time? Everyone's just, all the littles and the and he's just going out there like giving you like ticker tape out of his mouth. It's like amazing.
We gonna be all right.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Can you feel me? It's good stuff and very rhythmic and stuff. But since Josh picked Kendrick, I'm gonna go with my the other choice was J. Cole. He's a lot of the elements that Josh said. He's thoughtful. He can get smooth. He can go after you. And he's a fellow alumni of St. John's University.
And he's from North Carolina.
And yes, correct. That's right. So I don't know how he wound up not going to Duke or Chapel Hill. He winds up going to
New York,
Yeah.
Where the music was.
And so he does actually come back and pay the basketball team some love and hang out on campus. So it's props to J. Cole for that also. But as far as a current rapper, because one of the other questions we're going to run into is favorite rapper under 30. So I just did some Wikipedia to see how old some of these guys are, and I didn't realize that. Yeah, J. Cole's not. He can't fit in that category because he's over 30. So I got somebody else for that. But currently, he's one of my guys.
My first pick, like somebody's like he's 36. I was like, he is.
Yep.
So I have, I have a disconnect with Kendrick. I think he's one of those people that's like super talented. I just kind of like hate a lot of his production. But it's just, man, so on the last record, he has that song where it's like an argument with his girl. I was like, wow, that's heavy. Like, that's
Alchemist, by the way.
Is it?
Yeah.
On that song?
That's Alchemist beat right there.
Yeah, then that makes sense why I like it. But a lot of the stuff, like, I feel like his voice reminds me of Bahamadia. It's like so like it's so like low in the mix, and like it doesn't really pierce through, and what he's saying is good. It's just I don't know. I could never really understand everything. I would prefer J. Cole, me personally. I feel like he's definitely amazing, and I never knew anything about him. And then one day I listened to him. I'm like, okay, yeah. Because I thought he was like a young kid, and when you hear him, you're like, oh yeah, this guy's like really fucking good. But my current favorite rapper, of course, is Crime Apple. I could have picked Nems, but Nems kind of loses me on occasional projects aside from Gorilla Monsoon, which was 100% solid.
Like Bing Bong?
Yeah, that was on Congo. Oh, yeah. I love Bing Bong, but I don't watch basketball, so like I have no connection to it. I do love Double Dribble though, so that shout out to that. But Crime Apple is a rapper from Jersey, of Colombian descent, which is what I am, minus the Jersey part. So there's a connection with his like Spanish dialect, which is so familiar when I hear it. So it hits double what in two sections. And it's just his like fucking bars are just like, I'm listening to him like talk about everything from like John Lovitz. Like he just throws in where Action Bronson would do the same thing. Like it was like watching like a TV, with like all these like pop culture references, and I feel Crime Apple does the same. So like if you could tie like basically my childhood together with the the raps and he he went from doing stuff with like Big Ghost with the big drums and like those beats and stuff. That's what I sent Josh. That song that you thought was at least decent. But then he's also done stuff with Muggs, which is like more of like the beatless stuff. So he goes between those two, but goddamn, he's just, when it comes to like lyricism, him and like your old Droog, but I think Crime Apple has him. You know, Droog is amazing too, but Crime Apple's my current favorite. So I know Josh knows. So we've had this conversation. Yo, I fucking sent this guy some songs, and he's right in the thread, and he's just like, he's like, I can write this. I can write this in like 20 minutes, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, man, I'm sorry. I'm cursed, man. Like I listen to stuff and I can tell by people's word choices how fast they wrote it.
Yeah,
because I know what the first words you come up with. It's like if a rapper says good, I go, please don't say hood, please don't say hood, please don't say hood. You know what I mean? And then it's like something in the hood. I'm like, oh, come on, man. Like everybody says, like 50 Cent says good and hood like probably 5 times on his debut album. It's just like take like a little bit more time, you know? It'll be so much better, I promise.
Listen, if Crime Apple's listening, I hope you take Josh's advice on this for the next record.
Now, Crime Apple's doing just fine. He doesn't need my advice. I'm just saying for my personal taste. That's
all right, so let's do favorite female rapper, Josh.
Lauryn Hill.
Good one.
It's like I died in 1999 and that was it. Like I got locked up and never heard music again. But yeah, no one ever made an impact on me like Lauryn did. Like she was the first.
Yeah.
She was like the first female rapper where I was like, I don't think about the word female in front of it. You know what I mean? And I really don't mean to sound like that. But everyone else, I just kind of feel like it's not the same thing because the essence of rap is almost like a bunch of dudes sitting around talking shit. So like, where does a woman fit into that conversation? It's like a woman comes in the room and then she starts to talk like the guys. And it's like, I don't know about this. Like, this is a little aggressive. It's like, so how does a woman navigate that? You know, I didn't make the rules. That's just what it is. So that's what I find. It's like a lot of, you know, today's female rappers are obviously like very sex driven and like, you know, all that other stuff. And I'm just like, come on, man. Like, I can't listen to this. So hers was just like, she was like a rapper's rapper. And yeah, I don't think anybody has ever done what she did.
Yeah, amazing. You know, when you write this stuff out, I didn't really give it much thought. I just went quick. And you saying that, I'm like, oh, yeah. Like when you hear the Fuji La verse, like the verse on Fuji just alone, you're like, God damn, like you smoked everyone on that fucking song.
Nah, she's good. And there was never a question of whether or not she was writing it. You know what I mean? Whereas everybody else is like, I'm not sure if she actually wrote that, you know, like Foxy Brown, Lil' Kim, you know, like.
She scraped off some words for Praz.
Right.
She's like, say this. Shout out to my boy Jamie Siegel, who made our last record. Back to the show. He worked on Miseducation.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
A good credit.
He's got a bunch of them. Lang. Favorite female rapper.
Yeah, I did this like Sam real quick and stuff, but Lauryn Hill, that was a good call. And I went with Shay Noir out of Buffalo. I really dig what she's doing. She's putting out good work. She can hang with any fella. I like her voice, her delivery, her wordplay. Also, I have to shout out Little Kim was really, you know, groundbreaking too in the history of female. I mean, she had a lot of babies. There's a lot of people running around, you know, out there, the Nicki Minaj's or whatever, that completely influenced by. If there was no Little Kim, forget about it. So her impact can't be denied. But I like Shay Noir.
Yeah, good one. Joe, favorite.
I'm gonna go with the MC Light. You know, she makes a lot of people's lists for obviously for all-time female rappers. You know, back then there was Salt and Pepper and Latifah and Moni Lover around the same scene. You know, Miss Melody. When it wasn't just a boys' game anymore. You know, girls could play, and so I like that Light was. She started out as like, you know, basic rapper singing about, you know, 10% diss, and then she evolved, and she could do, all of a sudden she's doing like, you know, songs with like R&B tracks. Like she was sampling Poor Georgie for like, George Poor Georgie for Georgie Porgy from Toto, or like Eyes of the Soul. Then she went hard with Roughneck, and she worked with Bad Boy for a little bit there. Like her whole like from the start to like maybe the mid '90s, she had a really pretty long sweet spot for me as far as like um, consistency, and she's got that delivery. Like she's always like talking to you, like she's like she could be your pal, but she's also telling you a story, and I liked her flow. So Light is and she's got one of the best verses on Stop the Violence, Self-Destruction.
Yeah.
One of my favorites.
Hell yeah.
LL
Funky
Cool
Fresh.
J wrote that.
Yeah, that's right.
So he's
Yeah.
he's got new music coming out. My friend George sent me a track. Q-Tip did his whole record, and he sent me one of his new songs, and I was like, wow, that's fucking really good. Like the production sounded
yeah.
very good. Yeah. So
Special shout out to. Sorry, I just want to say, rest in peace. And she wasn't as bad as. She was pretty decent, for a pop rapper. But Lisa Left Eye Lopez, I also liked her work.
Oh yeah.
She was from this like R&B group, so you figure she's like a joke. But there were some spots where she could spit pretty well.
Yeah. Shout out to that house that didn't stand a chance. But there's also Netflix. I didn't get a chance to watch it. There's a female MC documentary, a few episodes that I didn't get a chance to watch. It's up on Netflix. Queen Latifah and a whole bunch of people on there, which is very cool. So my favorite, I went with Flo, Foxy Brown. Everything she was on back then, like I was like, whenever she would do stuff with Lil Kim and I don't know, there was just something about her, the song Josh Hates from Reasonable Doubt, for sure. And very attractive, I might say, that's for sure. But I also wanted to shout out Rhapsody and Che Noir as well. Rhapsody right now
Rhapsody's
is
sick.
crushing it. But the Che Noir Apollo Brown records, like, man, like really, like those are like they're when you want to talk about Lauryn Hill lineage, Che Noir and Rhapsody are definitely on that lineage where you don't think it's not like they're, shout out to Megan Thee Stallion too. I like shit like that too. But when you want MC shit, Che and Rhapsody right now are fucking crushing it. So
Just want to interject about Foxy and something that Josh mentioned for Ain't No N-Word. Foxy Brown is not Filipino. She's not even half Filipino.
Oh, no.
Really?
No.
Oh,
You want Filipino rappers, try Saweetie, because she actually is.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But yeah, I think Jay just needed a word to rhyme with Machino, so he threw that in there. But she's not. She's about as Filipino as I am Irish. So.
So you're saying she's Irish? Got it. All right. All right. Here we go. Josh, favorite rap group.
That's a good question. I should pull up my list. The favorite rap group is A Tribe Called Quest. For me, they just made the most consistent music that still holds up to this day. That's as simply as I can put it. Midnight Marauders is still top 2 rap albums of all time for me. And I don't know. For me, that was just hip hop personified.
Yeah. Langan, favorite rap group.
I'll keep it quick. Tribe Called Quest also. Gangstar runner up with Tribe Called Quest. Their albums.
I got Tribe too. Joe, do you have Tribe by any chance?
I have Tribe somewhere else, but but not for rap.
Okay, yeah. All right. So Langan, go ahead.
No, just real quick. I mean, their albums were very much a blueprint of me growing up and how much I listened to them and stuff. And I love the jazz. The jazz production is really, that's my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Especially when I was first getting into hip hop. So it was an easy one for me.
So I'm going to go with them real quick. So I'm going to say Tribe too. Tough, but I didn't want to think about it too much, Exactly. I just remember hearing Bugging Out for the first time, and it felt like I don't know, just when the bass drops and then the hi-hats kick in, it was fucking like wow. And then you hear the drums on like We Got the Jazz, and of course Scenario, and then everything from the first record, Steve Biko from like a Midnight Marauder, The last
And the
two,
voices of Tip and Fife
yeah,
just were so different in their styles. It was a real nice parody, you know.
it's like the Love Movement and Beach Rhymes and Life like were good, but
Mhm.
goddamn, those first three records, wow, like that's like when you find like a time capsule and you want to give somebody hip hop DNA, can't really beat like that's you could put those three records in a museum and be like, oh, this is hip hop music 100%. So and extra shout out to Nonfiction, which was the flip side of that, which was more of like the underground stuff. Nonfiction, when they came out in the city in like the middle 90s to like the early 2000s, they were very big in my life. Like they were like the flip side to like everything that was popular. They just cut out their own thing. Shout out to Gore, friend of the show. But Nonfiction was a very, very, very big group in my life. So Joe, favorite rap group.
So I'm the outlier, but I mean, I can't really disagree with anything anybody has said here about Tribe. That first 3 album run you mentioned, it's one of the best 3 album runs of any hip hop artist in the last
Yeah.
50 years, especially if you were there in real time when it dropped. But I'm going with their Queens neighbors, Run DMC, from not that far up the road in Hollis, Queens, for the impact and their first 3 album run, which meant a lot to me as like a teenager just learning about rap in the beginning to all the way up to like maybe when Raising Hell just kicked the doors down for everybody, and they were on MTV and that opened the door for a lot of the rappers to walk through. And just picture me being like a high school sophomore and hearing Daryl Mack saying, I go to St. John's University. That may have influenced my SAT choices to go, because I did wind up going to St. John's. It was like a badge of honor, And then Crush Groove, and then Tougher Than Leather, and they did the tour with the Beasties, and for a while there they were it. They were the pinnacle.
They were,
and
yeah.
I can't ever forget that kind of like as influence and who opened your eyes to rap. For someone my age, it was definitely Run DMC, and I still rock with their stuff today. So
Very cool. All right, just real quick, Josh, you have a 10:30 hard out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
we got time.
we're gonna flip
Keep it
through these
moving.
real quick.
Yep.
Favorite rap collective, Josh.
Wu-Tang.
This was an interesting question because
I
it's
got
like,
Wu-Tang also.
so do
Yeah.
I. Because so you could argue and say, like, hey, we mean like, TDE or like
Right.
Native Tongues. But I mean, Wu-Tang is like 10, like, they branched off so much shit.
Yeah.
They might have came out as a group, but really, I mean, you look at how many, the first 2 albums they put out as a group, very, great impact, whatever. But as solo artists, they've done way more and spread out and shit. So I had to go with them as a collective instead of a group. But and they're impossible to fuck with. How many good MCs can you have in one fucking?
Yeah.
And you got.
Ah. Now he's
I agree.
Now he's never coming on the show.
The one guy we might have been able.
Yeah,
No.
you know what? The one guy that was in.
I'm just playing. I bought your book and read it. I loved it.
I love the documentary too. So shout out to him. Anything you want to add, Josh?
I mean, I think it speaks for itself. I almost feel like the question was kind of like set up for the answer Wu-Tang. Like this was one of the ones where I didn't really have to think about it that hard. Because again, I thought about what you thought about, and I was like, well, I guess they're talking about like crews. But is a crew a collective? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like maybe they're different. So I think Wu-Tang's the answer. But
yeah, for sure.
What did you have, Joe?
Well, Wu-Tang, I knew that at least 2 of us, now it's 3 of us, were gonna say Wu-Tang, so I didn't feel like I could add anything more than what was said already. They're like the perfect Voltron of rap. Like they come together, then they split apart, and then they come back together. But I'm just going to give an honorable mention also to the Native Tongues, which I think Langan mentioned, because for a little period of time there, you had Tribe, you had Jungle Brothers, De La Soul, Queen Latifah, Moni Love, Black Sheep,
yeah,
all doing solo work and then posse cuts, and some of the greatest posse cuts you can have as a collective. So I just think they deserve to be mentioned because I knew Wu-Tang was going to be almost a clean sweep.
I got to say though, when they
honorable
form like
mention.
Voltron
Yeah.
now, it's not as good. It's not a good Voltron.
Nah.
They're better. They're better.
Solo.
Honorable mention to Odd Future. They were a good collective. You know, those kids all went on to do, I mean, like fucking, you know, even acting. Like the dude, you know, Jasper and fucking
Dave.
Jackass and no Taco and Dave. Yeah,
right.
just amazing.
And
stuff.
Lionel, who's their boy, is in The Bear.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Wow. He's like, he works in the same kitchen with like the main characters.
And Tyler is still doing his thing.
Shout out to Lucas. Shout out to Lucas Verchetti, who wears Outburst shirt on the internet.
Oh,
so, yeah,
nice.
Pretty cool.
Hell yeah, that is pretty cool. All right, so a favorite rapper under 30, Josh.
So I had to Google because no one's under 30 anymore. And I'll be honest with you, I don't like any rappers under 30.
I believe you.
No, I really don't. And I tried. So the closest I could get was Tyler, who's 32, which to an old man like me is under 30. I don't know.
Yo, Tyler's really 32? Wow, that's wild. I thought he was younger.
We think everybody's younger because we're fucking really
everyone
old.
is younger. That's what happens.
Yeah, technically he is a lot younger. You're right.
Yeah, I couldn't come up with one. I saw Joey Badass as 29, but like,
that's my pick.
I forgot this question, and I'm gonna say Joey Badass.
Yeah, that's my pick.
I forgot to do this.
So me and Joey Badass. I mean, me and Langan have Joey Badass. Yo, let me tell you this: you're fucking up, Josh.
Last album was all right.
No, I'm talking about like the early shit. I heard a song like on fucking like just I feel like it was MTV or something that ended up on 1999, and I was like, yo, what the fuck is this? It sounded like a song I missed from the 90s.
Yeah.
And then I listened to the whole record and I'm like, yo, this is like unbelievable. Like 1999, I mean, it's promoted as a mixtape, but it's one of the greatest hip hop mixtapes, or I'm just gonna say album, that I've ever heard. Like it's
really good,
fucking unbelievable. Summer Nights.
I kind of know what it is, you know. I know like the premise of it. Like I heard a couple songs and it just kind of sounded like, you know, Shaheem the Rugged Child or something. But I don't know. I'll give it a second.
Yeah. No, it's so good. And Summer Nights, the record after. And then he put out his debut, which was before the money. So that had Premiere on it. Man, once again, just killer. Those for like everything he's done. It's just later on he's put out records that kind of, you know, it's like a little bit more mature. I think he definitely did not like when people said, oh, you're like a 90s revivalist type thing, because he just repelled against that. He's like, nah. And then he went like completely on purpose to a different side of the planet. But I think he's comfortable doing what he's doing now, which is like a mixture of like, he'll do some boom bap stuff, but then he'll do like more current stuff. But man, those first three, like, just fucking killer.
Sorry, what's that group? Did you send me? There's a new group coming out. What was it?
Oh no, Loaf Music, right? Is that what you're thinking?
They're like that. No, Loaf
Music
like kind of came and went. Yeah, man. I feel like you sent me the link.
You're thinking of the Same Olds.
Yeah,
the Same Olds.
I like to see what those kids end up doing, but
yeah, they're very. Yeah, Coast Contra is good too. Razzcast.
They're embracing the revivalist kind of thing. You know what I mean?
So Joe, what do you have for under 30?
Well, my rapper will always be under 30 because it's Juice WRLD, who passed away. You know, but he's kid, 21, man.
Yeah.
But he had some really catchy stuff that even breached the top 40 radio, which is where at the time he came out, I was listening to a lot of stuff that, you know, present day. Oh, that was present at the time. And his stuff just really stuck out to me because, you know, he could write melodies and like put them in with his rapping, his rapping style. And so it was a bummer when he died unexpectedly. I think that kid was destined for great things. But one of the other ones I mentioned, I just dropped my kid off the other week at Earl Sweatshirt concert in Brooklyn Steel.
Mm.
Yeah.
So as I was driving, he was playing some stuff for me, and I'm like, that kid's really good, and he's 29. So
He is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an Odd Future guy. I wish his projects. He kind of lost me. The thing with Earl, weird. It's almost like extra arty. Like he just doesn't care. The record Doris hit me a lot harder, and that was like probably like 10 years ago now. But man, sometimes he puts out records with like Alchemist, and I'm like, are you purposely making pretend you're sleeping while you rap? Like I'm like, you're losing me, and I want to love your shit. But favorite storyteller, Josh?
Biggie.
Yeah, me too.
For
Go ahead.
sure. His yeah, I'm trying to think of like all I mean, again, it's so weird to talk about somebody who has two albums as if they're like, you know, just the Jimi Hendrix. You know what I'm saying? Like it's so odd, but he was just that good to me. And I think it was just
The
especially
warning,
for our age group,
like you
it's
hear
like he
you
came
hear the
out at a
warning.
time and
You
yeah.
hear the warning, and you're just like following this story.
Yeah.
I didn't
Pop from
say
the
them.
barbershop.
They school. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just like
it's so good.
you're
Just
like
like I said, like the word choices and like the way the story progresses and like it's masterful storytelling to me.
absolutely. That's my pick too. So hold on, I hear somebody coming. That's so good.
you got a red dot on your head.
Yeah. Oh, you got a red dot on your head too.
Oh,
Oh
shit.
shit. Langan, who do you have for best storyteller?
I put Cool G Rap.
Oh yeah.
A lot of his early work, especially with
Yeah.
that DJ Polo and that era. I mean, there's so many streets of New York on the run. They're masterful, and wordplay is insane. Cool G Rap. I was going to have him in my underrated, but I put him in this so I could get him a mention because Cool G Rap's one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah, very cool.
No doubt, no doubt.
Joe, storyteller.
I had to find a way to put him on this list somewhere, so I'm going to say Eminem.
Oh, okay.
97 Bonnie and Clyde.
Stan.
I mean, yeah, Stan is just amazing.
Mm.
For the mainstreamers that everyone knows Stan, and he gave Dido some shine. But yeah, that's just like the way from the beginning to end, you're just captivated by Stan. So,
Guilty conscience.
Guilty conscience, yeah, just stuff like that. So I got to give his props somewhere on this list. So he made it.
That's true. Yeah. I that first record when it came out, like I really fucked with it a lot. The thing with him is the Nas syndrome, where it's like, why do you pick the worst beats ever? And why do you pick the worst beats and the worst hooks ever? But when it comes down to like, flow and lyricism, sometimes he fucking shreds like Yngwie Malmsteen. I'm like, all right, I get it. Like you could rap fast. Yeah, why is Josh laughing like he knows who Yngwie Malmsteen is? Fuck out of here. You're muted. Josh, you're muted.
Yeah.
I worked at a record store in college for 3 years. So when you said it, I pictured his face.
You don't forget that name.
You don't forget that hair. Yeah. Because it's I remember when he was in like those metal magazines. I was young. I'm like, Wangui, like it was like Wengui, Aingui, like you couldn't even pronounce it.
That name and those blouses, man.
Yeah,
it's hard to fuck with.
All right, most underrated rapper, Josh.
The answer is Fonte.
Yeah, okay,
he's incredible, and there are people who put him in the top 5, but just like his music never got big enough to have the impact that he could have had if his music was more commercial, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But just from a straight up like technical lyricism, but also does it in a way that's like digestible. He's the guy, man. He's a storyteller. He's a lyricist. I mean, he's, for those that don't know, he's OG Drake minus the corniness. So like Drake credits him with like basically Drake copied Fonte and then became Michael Jackson. So it's kind of odd if you think about it. It's like this guy who most people have never even heard of was the blueprint for the now biggest artist of this entire generation. But either way, he's unbelievable.
So, underrated, right? You know, if people didn't know Fonte or Little Brother, what's a song that you would recommend they listen to?
Holy crap. What's oh, sorry, I'm thinking of the title. Come back to me, because I'm trying to think of what the title is. I hear the beat in my head.
Yeah, look at, just
Oh,
look at your phone. I'll go to Langan.
I know.
Langan.
I hear the beat and the title. I'm so
That's
bad with names.
hopefully he unfriends you on Facebook soon. Langan, most underrated.
I got Grand Puba, earlier Brand Nubian, but then solo. He's got one of the easiest flows that says like the most amazing shit. He's fun as hell. He'll get a party started, but he's got some street shit and well. I mean, there's so many. His solo album 2000, way underrated. There's so many good songs. I like it. New York City, and the title track 2000, amazing verses. When Brand Nubian, in later Brand Nubian, even there's a song called "Back Up Off the Wall." I think that he's got an insane verse on it, and I love Puba.
Okay, so those are your underrated picks, right? So,
By the way, the Little Brother song is called "All for You."
all for you.
It's off the Minstrel Show. Just the story that Fonte tells on that, where he's basically talking about like his dad not being around, and then he starts to talk about like his young child and how he's like not around, but because of music, and how that's like causing problems in the relationship, which kind of like strains or like exacerbates the difference. I mean, the distance even more. And then he ends the verse and he's like, "Well, Pops, how can I blame you? Because I did the same thing." And, you know, it's like he has this like realization that like, oh my God, like I'm sitting here complaining, like all my problems are because like you weren't around, and like now I'm not around. You know, it's like it's just such a good verse. And that was early Fonte. So he got like even better. Like once he figured out how he did what he did, he got even better.
Shout out to
Sorry,
Harry
I had to
Chapin.
interject.
Shout out to Harry Chapin on that one.
I don't understand, but
Cat's in the
Another
cradle.
Long Island guy, I think.
Cat's in the cradle. Cat's in the cradle.
Oh, right.
Joe, most underrated.
I'm gonna do the handshake emoji with Langan because Grand Poobah was my choice.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
And
Nice.
so he did a little Brand Nubian, but I'll go before that one. Nobody ever heard of him, and he was part of the Masters of Ceremony.
Oh shit!
And they did a song called "Cracked Out," which is and "Sexy" with Don Barron. But MC Serge for Third Base's remix. No, they did a Portraits of the Artists of the Hood, and he dropped "Cracked Out" reference, and I think I might have been like the only one in my circle of friends who knew what Serge was talking about. He dropped "Cracked Out," and if anyone hasn't listened to that, that's early Grand Poobah. And All for One or One for All. I mean, there's not much you can say that's amazing. That's like basically his solo album with with Jamar and Sadat X kind of like throwing in their collective when they got the chance. But more of that to come when you get to favorite rap album. Spoiler alert. But yeah, Grand Poobah, man.
So I have most underrated. Listen, I'm a big fan of Nems, and I feel like his lineage comes from Sean Price. Definitely, so I love Helter Skelter, but it wasn't until Sean did his own thing with his solo records, especially Monkey Bars and Mike Tyson, and his just like, I mean, if you want to hear one of the greatest hip hop songs ever, it's Onion Head, just so good, like the beat. Yeah, man, I always think Sean Price, like when you put on his shit, it's just like automatically people that aren't familiar with it are like, what is this? Or people that haven't heard it in a while are super happy to hear it again. So Sean Price, most underrated for me. Most overrated. I think Josh is probably the only one with an actual answer to this.
I definitely have an answer, and I'd just like to say, I'd first like to thank you guys for not being as big as, say, like a Drink Champs, because that allows me to give an honest answer.
Yes.
And not have to face repercussions.
No worries there.
We can guarantee all our guests that no one will hear any fucked up shit you say. So come on board. Come on down.
Your secret's safe with us.
No one's gonna murder me is the main kind of sticking point for me. So for me, I'm gonna be honest. The answer is Tupac.
Oh, yeah.
I don't get it. I don't understand why people praise him the way that they do. I think that he was a decent rapper at best.
Yeah.
And I don't think that he had any like original concepts that were not like, it's like, oh wow, that's amazing. It's like, but was it though? I don't know. I just think his character was bigger than his music, so
Mm.
people got a little blinded.
I don't have a pick, but yeah,
I got one.
so I basically, yeah, I agree with you. Just because I remember growing up, and maybe because I was just so East Coast snobbish that
Me too.
I'm like, wait, fucking who cares? Like Tupac? I'm like, this is a big deal. Like, with an occasional, trapped. There's just some songs that he had which I thought were cool, but for the most part, like when he was like popping off, I'm like, eh. I thought his verse on Digital Underground was good though.
I think that's the best verse he ever did.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, it's just
And then
the
Same
music.
song?
Yeah,
and then he played Bishop and Juice and was like, "Oh, that's who I am," and
Yeah.
that was it.
And
I was
it's
like,
amazing. Listen, it's amazing to think of a guy who was that young, because he was killed when he was like 24.
25, I think.
25.
24? Yeah, something like that.
That's fucking like now. Like,
Yeah, he seems older for sure, but
yeah. So he yeah, that's crazy. So Langan, you have a pick?
I got Lil Wayne.
Oh yeah.
I don't get it.
I'm
How
not
is
mad
that
at that,
guy
to be
so
honest.
popular? I don't get it. He's fucking everything that comes out of his mouth is fucking retarded.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm not
Sorry.
mad at that, to be honest.
I'll tell
Really
you
not.
this. I like one song a lot, and it's so
Hey,
all right.
Millie.
Yeah,
You like the song, or is it because of what he spits?
yes, it's what he spits. So listen,
Okay.
when he first came out and he was like a young kid, I that whole movement was just beyond anything I could wrap my head around. And then he did a verse on like a Beyonce song or like Destiny's Child or something.
Soldier.
And I was just like,
I'm a soldier.
this is so fucking bad.
Yeah.
And then he got older and he put out 6'7", and I was like, did he really write this? I mean, this is really good. Like Real
Yeah.
G's Move in Silence, like lasagna.
Like lasagna.
That's
a
pretty
good
good.
one. Yeah.
Every line in 6'7", including the beat and Corey, like that's a killer song. And Millie's pretty good too. I think as he got older, he was just better. It's just like, I'm thinking like, he just doesn't seem. I mean, what do I know? I'm like, is he really writing this stuff? I don't really know. So, but yeah, I get it. So I don't know, Joe, if you have anyone.
Yeah. Ross. I don't understand the phenomenon, that guy.
You said
I know
Rick
he's
Ross?
asked audience, but like just an example. Rick Ross, yeah.
Okay.
I went to see Rakim. I went to see Rakim in like 2010. And Rick Ross kind of like was the opening act. Kid Capri was spitting, and then Rick Ross came on, and like so many people were going for drinks and like going to the bathroom because they wanted to be like Rakim. And nobody was giving a shit about Rick Ross. It was in New York, it was in Manhattan, so he had the home crowd not really with him. But there really hasn't been anything that he has done that's like really like made me raise my eyebrows. And everyone like he's been around for so long.
Did we lose him?
I think so.
Kind
You
of
there,
lost you for
Joe?
a little bit.
Your mic is.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Mike is hang on.
It was transforming.
But now,
So Rick
Yeah.
Ross, right?
Should
Check your connection or something.
yeah, it was Rick Ross.
All right, so we got Rick Ross. I didn't really pick anyone. I don't know. I was like being too cool for school. I was just like, I couldn't really think of anyone.
You're so noble.
What
You like to get in the mud over here.
I just don't. Yeah, I can't think of anyone. But everyone.
I didn't think of anyone at first, but then I just gave it some thought. I'm like, who sells a lot of shit and pops up in greatest rappers lists that you see and shit, like Rolling Stone, people that don't actually cover hip hop, and that's how I'm like, oh, Lil Wayne.
Yeah,
I almost would go Kendrick.
Oh God.
Yeah,
You need to listen to his catalog start to finish and then get back to me.
I almost would go him, but I mean, I think that's outrageous if I do that. But everyone's picks, like when Joe said Rick Ross, I'm like, yeah, I can see that. So, so let's go to what are we at? Favorite producer, Josh.
That's me. For me, it's Pharrell. Who's obviously bigger than just a hip hop producer, but his hip hop productions are just as good as all his other productions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's the GOAT to me, and it just doesn't stop. Like he still hasn't stopped. He just kind of stepped back a little bit, which I understand because modern day music is not that inspiring. So, yeah, he's the guy.
Get off my lawn. I get it.
Yeah, that's right.
Langan, favorite producer.
Three names came to mind for newer guys. Big Ghost, I dig a lot for straddling old and new mugs. But all time, I mean, I'm going with Primo. Just anthems, legendary anthems after anthems. It's just impossible to fuck with his track record. And I
Yeah.
love his fucking cuts.
Yeah. Joe, favorite producer.
I say Neptunes is in there, and then Primo, of course. I was banking on people saying that, so I'm just gonna throw in my honorable mention is Rick Rubin. The early Def Jam Rick Rubin stuff is just like kick down the door. Like everyone's here, take notice.
When I saw Josh at the Pumpkin Show last, I don't know, Wednesday, he was wearing an NERD shirt.
That's right. I told him that's my version of rock and roll.
Oh yeah. And I told him he can get this lap dance here for free, which is the only.
We
thing
also
I think of.
we claim Chad Hugo also. We claim
Yes.
Okay.
Filipino son.
That's right.
So my three picks are exactly what Langan just said. Big Ghost LTD is melting my brain at the moment. Like just melting. The last couple of years, he's fucking melting my brain.
He can't do anything wrong.
He's just fucking melting my fucking brain with his production. Muggs he's put out like 36 albums in the last 6 years. Like
you didn't hear from him for a minute, and then it's like I could only hear him.
Yeah. That's all I hear now. And of course, Premiere is Premiere and Static Selecta, round up like the two, where it's just like you guys, whatever you guys touch is unbelievable. So, all right. So a couple of questions left here. Favorite rap album of all time, Josh?
These start to get really hard. I mean,
they definitely do. I have Midnight Marauders. Sometimes it's Reasonable Doubt, but for me, it's Midnight Marauders because I can still play it start to finish, and I can still feel the same as I did to some degree, when it first came out. And that album's like 30 years old, I think. So,
all right.
Yeah, that's the one for me.
All right, let me just write this. Langan, favorite.
This is so hard.
It's impossible.
I mean, that came to my mind right away was Cypress Hill's first record, Midnight Marauders, Outcast of Clemenine, Mobb Deep, the infamous. But I probably went for me. Tribe Law and Theory just always gets it for me.
Yeah, that's about as hip hop as an album could be for sure. I go that over Midnight for sure. So Joe, favorite rap album of all time?
I'm gonna say Brand Nubian, One for All.
Nice.
Wow.
They never, they kept going, but then Puba took off, and then they got back together, but it just wasn't the same as the impact that One for All had. It had some reggae on there, had some, posse cuts with, some Black awareness, 5% Nation, some real educational stuff in there, and Puba was just at a zenith, I think, for me at least.
For me,
what's today's mathematics, Joe?
Yeah.
85, 15. Was it 5%?
Yeah,
something like that.
My man, I love the music, but God, when it comes to like religious stuff like that, I can't tune out quick enough.
I actually know like actual 5%ers like right now. I know a guy like from high school. He's like active.
I would have to Google what that even means. I have no idea.
I
I
can
Those are the
actually
dudes
tell
that
you.
when you walk down the street in New York and a bunch of black dudes yell at you sometimes.
Yeah.
And they
No,
have little
those are the
bow
black
ties.
Israelites.
No, those are
Those
the
Oh, okay, my
Israelites.
bad.
Yeah, those are
yeah.
those are the Israelite. Yeah. Those if you go to like Penn Station, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, if
Dressed
someone's
in like the garb.
yeah, definitely. I don't like to get yelled at about things I don't care about.
Yeah. Yeah, you might be right. I don't know.
Yeah, you might
Yeah.
be. You
I
might
don't
be
really
right. I
fucking
don't know.
care.
Fair point.
I'm just trying to get a slice of pizza.
Well
Noted,
Favorite.
sir.
So
Thank you.
listen, very tough to say, but I think the album that I listen to the most is Mobb Deep, The Infamous. I
Great album.
I can't think.
You're a
You know,
criminal.
I don't listen. I don't rap, but fucking eye for an eye. I think I know every goddamn word. You know, you got fucking Raekwon on there. You got like Raekwon and Nas on your fucking feature. Goddamn. You know, and who could forget, you know, that skit where he's telling you he's gonna punch your, you know, he's gonna punch you in your face, and like, you know, like when we were kids and that cassette, you know, we put that cassette in, and he's like, yeah, let me take a break here. Let me just, and he basically like put the fear of God in, like, you know, 14-year-old kids from the suburbs were like, oh my God, this guy's going to beat me up. I'm just listening to the album. I have no idea what's going on. So yeah. All right. Last 3 questions. Favorite rap song, Josh? Impossible.
Yeah, sticking with the theme of Midnight Marauders, for me, it's Electric Relaxation, because I can't say what's the best rap verse, but I can tell you from a emotional perspective, that beat for me, I'll never, like, you could just play it now until the day that I die. I don't think I'd ever get tired of it.
All right. So I'm when I write you eulogy out later, I'm gonna put
Play
that in
this
there.
at my funeral, as the kids say.
Yeah, totally. Like Josh wanted this bed played at his funeral.
That's right.
Let me say some words to quote my friend Crime Apple.
Because everybody will be so excited, you know,
Yeah.
that I'm gone. Like, finally, this guy.
Langan.
Man, I have no fucking idea. But the first 2 that came to my head were Gangstar's Mass Appeal and Nas, New York State of Mind.
New York State of Mind. That's a good one.
Solid.
But,
I
mean, I could go in a fucking trillion different directions.
Yeah.
If I allow myself to get like,
Yeah.
forget it. That's it. That's what I got.
Joe, Impossible. Favorite hip hop song?
Also Impossible. But lately, if you ask me this, you know, with all the 50th birthday celebrations, I'm gonna go with They Reminisce Over You, Pete Rock and CL Smooth. It's just one of the perfect songs, you know, the sample, the rhyming, the reason why it was written for Trouble T. Roy, all that stuff thrown together. You know, it aged well to me.
Yeah. Impossible to pick, but if I were to pick a song, it's something that I want to sing along to and know every word to. How I Could Just Kill a Man, Cypress Hill. Like when that came out, like the beat, and it's like I still know every word. Yo, there was
That's an incredible beat.
There's something about Be Real, and maybe this is what transcended them to like just be like at the top. Like their albums never matched up to the first one, but it didn't matter because the trajectory was still like skyrocketing them. They could play anywhere and sell out anywhere, and it's amazing. They'll play festivals. And I think it's just Be Real has a way of rapping, and it's kind of like melodic in a way that you just like, it's like a song, you know? So when you're doing like How I Could Just Kill a Man, it's just like everything is so memorable, you know? And then of course, and so last 2, favorite rap duo, Josh.
The answer for me is Outkast, who I will tell you. I just missed the joke. I had a joke written down. Okay, let's edit that out. Ready?
Yeah.
My favorite rap duo is Boo and Gotti.
Yes.
That were from the R. Kelly lineage. But no, it is Outkast who, you know, what was interesting about Outkast is that for me, I was such a like New York hip hop head, though I was not in New York. I was a New York hip hop head, and when they came out, I didn't accept it at first. It took until like a Quem and I for me to go, oh no, these guys are pretty incredible. And then I went back and listened. And I was like, all right, I was being stupid. But
Same.
yeah,
Yeah,
those are my guys.
I was being stupid too, and like I
Yeah.
remember when that record came out, and was it Televators or like
Elevators.
yeah,
Yeah.
Televators is Mars Volta. Yeah, it's like me and you,
Yeah.
and I remember like listening
Ghost
to
is
it, listening to that like cassette, and like because Long Island and New York started fucking with that, and it's just like, oh, this is
Yeah.
interesting. It was like nothing we've ever heard. So yeah, that's cool. Langan, favorite rap duo.
Either Gangstar or Run the Jewels.
Yeah.
Those are the a little old, a little new there. So
Yeah.
even though, Run the Jewels aren't that new, being that Killer Mike and LP been around for a minute, but those are the two people that could do no wrong for me.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to see Run the Jewels in 2 weeks.
Nice.
Shout
Who
out
they
to Mike
playing with?
Radicone. Terminal 5 they're playing.
Last time I saw them was there. I hate that place, but
Worst venue in the city.
it's gonna be a good show.
Never been there before, but I guess I'll let you know what I think about it next
You
time.
have to meet someone that had something good to say about that place, but I'm sure Run the Jewels will turn it out, though.
Yeah,
regardless.
they did. Like when I saw them there, you just have to get in a good position because like if you're like over to like the right of the stage, it's just like you might as well not even be there. Joe, favorite rap duo.
I had 2 selections ready for this. One for like the good old time party, feel good, not necessarily skills on the mic, but they made you feel good, and that was Kid and Play.
Oh yeah,
they could dance,
Nice.
they could act. They got movies. Yeah, I think they got 3 movies at a house party. I'll never know. But as far as and 4 if you count the reboot,
Yeah.
which they're in. But as far as like technical
You
skills,
saw
and,
it?
like
You saw the reboot?
oh yeah.
How bad was it?
Well, if I was 18 to 23, I'd probably love it.
sure.
Gotcha.
Just like I did when I
Understood.
saw the original. Yeah.
Right.
But I
Understood.
was gonna say third base. As far as like more on the hip hop like technical side, the beat side, Def Jam family. I really dug their stuff at the time they came out. So I always go back to them for a good time, a good listen.
Yeah, man, they're those 2 third base records. Say whatever you want. The beats and like their rhymes are like, not even Josh could hate on those.
No, I used to come on. They were the biggest in my mind.
Like Words of Wisdom, like Pete's verse on that, crazy.
I love the
So rap duo for me, it's just impossible to basically, when I think of discographies, Eric B and Rakim, I would consider them a duo. When it comes to like discographies, they came in and out and they had no clunkers. Like they fucking came in and out and they fucking killed. Same thing with Gangstar. I don't really think they had a hole in their discography. But if I want to go currently, Run the Jewels. Run the Jewels have 4 albums of just like
perfect.
For a group that their main influence was the Bomb Squad. Like that's what they were going for. They did a really good job. So
nobody sounds like them.
No,
it's like their own lane.
And both of them are just like somehow LP went from rapidy, very obscure artsy stuff, and I think he kind of like toned it down a little bit, and now he's just very. I
think he got better.
He got better because I think he
disciplined.
Yeah, I think like you listen to the earlier, like his solo records or the Company Flow stuff. It was just he was just rapping for himself for sure. 100%.
That rapidy shit is the funniest shit. I gotta use that. That is so great.
Rapidy. All right. Very last question. I don't know why we're ending it on something. Maybe whoever made this list is like, oh, all right. One last thing. Favorite DJ.
So I've got the Naomi Cochran off the top of the head thing.
Oh, Naomi Cochran,
yeah.
Oh, yeah. So let's just do favorite DJ real quick, Josh.
My favorite DJ is DJ Bro Rab, who was my DJ, who is now ready for this Kid and Play's DJ.
Oh wow!
Full circle.
I couldn't have planned that better if I tried.
Nah, yeah, it's like you and Joe texted each other.
That's right.
Langan, favorite DJ.
Well, before I even say that if anyone hasn't seen the mixtape documentary on, I guess, Paramount Showtime,
Yeah.
that focuses on hip hop mixtapes and has all these references to Clue and all these old people that used to put out tapes and you know, the Mr. C Biggie tape, all these things. It's jog your memory like crazy, and it gives a lot of love to DJ culture, which I love. And but back to my list here, I would have to pick overall. But my runners up are Rock Raider and DJ Craze, but DJ Qbert is the greatest scratch DJ ever. He's like I said before, Jimi Hendrix. That dude's crabbing techniques and everything. He taught everybody how to fucking do it a certain way, I think. And the game was different
And a
for and
big
after him. And the whole scratch pickles.
and a big part of
Claimed.
and a yeah.
I was gonna say.
No doubt.
And a big part of the documentary Scratch, man, that came out forever ago. God damn,
Yeah.
that was cool, man. You know, they had everyone from Qbert to fucking DJ Honda, like just like mad cool shit.
Sure.
Joe, favorite DJ?
I'm gonna go another claimed DJ Mixmaster Mike. You know, most notably with for mainstream is the Beastie Boys. But that dude is just ridiculous. I could stare at his like when he starts to go off on his sets. I just stare at the guy like, what the heck? That's crazy. And also claimed.
Really? I didn't know.
Oh yeah.
Really?
50% is still claimed.
All right.
Is that criteria to join the Scratch Pickles?
Yeah, I think so.
They were
Actually,
both in there.
To join
I have a little gang going on over there.
Yeah, Mixmaster Mike, my number one.
Awesome.
And when it comes to mixtapes, J Period did a lot of great work, man. He's still putting out really cool stuff, like great blends. If I see J Period mix anywhere, I listen to it. So
shout out to Tony Touch's 50 MCs too,
for sure.
Oh yeah,
and shout out to local legend DJ Ev here, because back on Long
DJ
Island, I remember waiting for his mixtapes, and Tommy
Holy
LaRock.
shit. Yo, DJ Ev, yeah, for sure. Yeah. He was like the first big dude I saw with a towel because he was sweating.
His intros on his tapes were fucking well thought out and amazing. All his intros he would put together.
I haven't thought of DJ Ev like he was like a house party.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, like
his tapes got around this fucking island quickly.
God damn, throwback. All right, so Joe, what do you have?
I guess for the Nama Cochran 3, I got 3. So anyone who doesn't know, on Twitter, Nama Cochran's like a big hip hop music kind of aficionado, especially with hip hop, and she did this all through August, the 31 Days of Hip Hop hashtag. And so every day you'd find a different question relating to hip hop, over 50 years. And the great thing about it is anyone can answer from their perspective. And if you were 20, if you're 50, whenever it came out. So I just picked 3 of the really good ones. And so I'm just going to shoot them out. And off the top of your head, this is like you said, no time to think, just what comes to your head. So the first one is a song from the artist with the best rap voice. And I chose Night of the Living Bassheads by Public Enemy, because Chuck D is just like, from the first word, like bam, like you're stuck on his voice, like damn, this is amazing. So song from the artist with the best rap voice.
Holy shit.
Nice.
What You Want by 9.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
That's a great cut. Yeah. I love that song.
I'll be damned if I do, be damned if I don't.
I'll throw out Tribe Called Quest, Bonita Applebum, Q-Tip, Smooth as Fuck on that love song. It's comes to my head first.
Yeah. Sam's pondering.
Yeah, one of the most abrasive things I remember is You God. I'll give him a little light when fuck. Why is that song escaping me, bro? I'm gonna give it to you. No trivia. Or like
Mystery of Chess Boxing.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah,
that was the first introduction, and you're like, holy shit! You're like, this dude sounds like he's like that was like a thing that really comes to mind when it comes to voices, and it was just super strong. So
Okay, rapid fire question number 2 off the top of the dome. A song that felt like it. Oh, a favorite remix. That's the second one I had. And so I'll give you guys some time to think, but I chose Jungle Brothers doing our own thing.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it features, Jungle Brothers getting down with De La Soul and Q-Tip and Moni Love, and the video is a remix from the album. So that's when MTV artists were doing like, let's remix the song for the video only, and then you had to like go in search of the cassette single. But that was like one of the instances where you like a cash grab. You're like, man, I got to pay money for this. I already bought the tape, but I want to get this cassette single because it's so good,
Yeah. Killer. I right off the top, I'll give you right now, LL Cool J. I shot your remix.
Ooh, that's
The
good.
Oh yeah.
best.
Oh shit.
Yo, like once again, like I don't rap, but like I could do all those verses. I can't. I came to fucking
Female
man.
rappers too.
Yeah, I don't give a
fuck.
fuck. So it's like Keith Murray to Prodigy, Fat Joe, Foxy, and
Yeah.
LL, and it was like just goddamn like that. Like I love it. Like
I would say maybe Flavor in Your Ear remix.
Oh
Ooh.
yeah, hell yeah.
That's a good one for
That's a
me.
good
Or
one.
I'm not.
Scenario remix.
I'm not from Texas, but I rap a lot.
That's a good
You
one.
got a lot.
Yeah.
Shit, what do I? God, I guess maybe the Buddy remix. I love the Buddy remix. De La Soul,
That's a
the
good one.
Native Tongues family.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Another
that would be-
video remix that you had
Another
to go.
video.
yeah.
Yeah, seek that
And
out.
and Biggie, the piano mix of One More Chance, right? That wasn't on the album, right? That's a remix,
Yeah, with
technically.
the
Correct.
right with the barge
that
sample.
that's probably my shit
So
right
the
there.
Get Money remix, right?
Oh
Mm,
yeah.
That was
Fuck.
fucking killer.
Bravo.
Yeah. But that Flavor in Your Ear, that was more Guns N' Roses.
So the last name of Cochran one is the greatest posse cut. Now we just dropped a bunch of posse cuts because of remixes, but I think Josh said it. The Scenario remix is my favorite, my choice here, because once the Here We Go Yo version of it got so played out that you still love it, but you're like, man, I don't need to hear that anymore for a little
Yeah.
while. They dropped the Scenario remix, which is like they added Hood, who actually died before the single came out. And then they gave like Milo some play, and they're dropping like Metallica in there and Battlestar Galactica, and Busta Rhymes' verse is even sicker than the one he did on the regular Scenario. It's like, what the hell are you talking about? So that's my choice for greatest posse cut.
I'm gonna have to go Scenario also.
Original
yeah.
or
The original. And then there was a speaking of when you were mentioning Heavy D before, I kept thinking, remember that song "Don't Curse"
sure? Yeah, yeah.
with that?
I
fall in
was
there? That shit was-
I
yeah.
was totally gonna fucking say that. Yeah. I got One Train from the ASAP Rocky album. I'm gonna look up everyone. There's a lot of features.
Action Bronson.
So
On that one.
I'm gonna do the actual. I'm looking it up because I don't want to miss anyone. Because I think even Yellow Wolf is in that shit. So yeah, it was.
Yellow Wolf can rap, believe it or not.
Yo, he could fucking really rap.
Yeah, he can rap.
He could rap. Yeah, it had fucking Danny Brown, Big Crit, Yellow Wolf, Kendrick Lamar, Action Bronson. Fucking missing someone.
It's pretty good.
So it's just basically like the who's who of like the Joey Badass on there. That's a fucking have you heard that?
I haven't heard that one. No.
Really?
Mm-mm.
That whole album is so good. That is my favorite ASAP Rocky album.
I don't think I've ever even listened to ASAP Rocky before. I'll be honest with you.
Listen, let me tell you, you would love his producer on a lot of his stuff, Clams Casino.
I've heard it. I've heard of some of his solo work.
It's really
which is
cool.
mostly instrumentals, but
Okay.
yeah, it's good stuff.
I'll tell you this. ASAP Rocky was the first thing that I heard from the newer generation, and goddamn, that was almost like 10, 12, 13 years ago, where I was like, okay, I'm the old guy, which I wasn't even that old back then. But in my head, I'm thinking like, okay, this is a newer artist from New York that doesn't sound like he's from New York, but his songwriting and like everything about it was just so new. And like I listened to that first album front to back. It's fucking phenomenal. Like the songwriting is really good. Yeah, it's just unbelievable. I'll send you the link.
I would send him ASAP Rocky LSD.
Yeah.
That song, if you're like into like trip hop and stuff, I mean it's not trip hop, but it's like it's over in that area. It's like not a rap
DJ
song.
Shadow kind of like straddles the line of
LSD is my favorite ASAP Rocky song. It's so good.
They have a lot of cool stuff. He took that Rod Stewart sample and he put his it's really
it's a good one too.
Yeah. Every day I'm in
I'll have to check it out.
The same album,
I'll let you guys know if it's any good.
Yeah. So that's my I wanted to just shout out like a younger song.
No doubt.
So you guys are all old.
Trying to attract that new fan base, new generation. Besides my son, might be the only younger people to listen to the show.
I'm the youngest person on the show at the moment, so I'm soaking it in.
Oh, you're a child.
I got you by some months, I think.
Cool, man. Yo,
word.
Happy birthday, hip hop.
Early morning. This is the real Breakfast Club right here.
Yeah.
Fuck that other shit.
Hell yeah. Oh my God. I'm not even gonna get into those last few episodes, but
Tupac and Breakfast Club fans are coming for us today.
Oh boy.
There you go.
They got smizzoked. All right, cool guys.
We want all the smoke.
Yeah, that's right.
It's trending.
Later, guys.
Later.
All right, man.
All right, have a good day.